I am on the road again. So this trip is going to be 2 hours to 3 hours there, 2 hours back. So that's the whole freaking day. It'll be good. I'm going to see one of my work sites, and I'm bringing a bunch of goodies and drinks and chips. The other guy on the team, the other engineer's coming out with the hamburgers and the charcoal, and somebody already dropped the grill off, a big ass grill. So we're cooking for the guys, basically. This is something we and the guys who are in sales, engineering, all the guys who used to be in the field. Hey, Dan, thank you for the 5x5. All the people who used to be in the field, and now we're more in the office, and I'm kind of in between. We try to do this every so often for the guys and girls out there, and go and cook for them. So normally the worksite folks will stay at man camps, which are basically like professionally run trailer parks with a food galley in the middle. Hey, coffee. It's kind of hard to explain. I have to take a video one day. Think of it like a work barracks, but it's not janky. Well, some of them are janky. I take that back. But in any case, we try to do this once a quarter for the crew, especially when they've done really good. You know, no accidents, no lost time. You know, they've done good work. I got an engineer out there who's a really good guy, so I got some camo hats for him in the back, for him and the other guy. But working and lurking, there you go. That's always good. Okay, thus far in the last 30 seconds, I've passed a car, an SUV, and a motorcycle, all abandoned on the side of the road out here. It's like, did you guys? But they're not in an accident. They're just abandoned. Like somebody parked them there and left it. Like they ran out of gas. I'm like, do you not check your gas before you house? And you're in town. I haven't left town yet. Especially the motorcycle. Like just walk it home or walk it off the highway, for crying out loud. Hey, Watchman, how are you? Oh, 6.8. That in the Atlantic, strange area. That's not typical for the Atlantic. The Pacific, yes, Pacific has all sorts of instability, but the Atlantic, not so much. But in any case, so crashing, 1,500 points. Oh yeah, I figured that was going to happen. So the tariffs, what's it going to do? Interesting stuff. So Watchman just pointed out, right? The stock market is going to have a negative review of that, right? Because it's gonna impede trade. It's going to make certain things more expensive. It puts a negative energy into the stock market, and the stock market is not all analytic. A lot of it is feel of people, like the perception of what may or may not happen. Hey, farmer, what's going on? So, from what I'm understanding, what Trump is doing, or what the administration is doing, is whatever the country is tariffing us, we are tariffing them half that rate. So, for example, I don't know, I'm just coming up with, symbolic examples. For example, if Germany is taxing our Chevys, I don't know, at a 30% tariff, we're now hitting their cars with 15%. And that will remain for, I think, a month or two, at which point I'm going through a construction zone and they took me over the rumble strips, at which point it will increase to 30% at some future date. I don't remember all the caveats involved there. Now, there's certain countries that are not involved. So Canada and Mexico are under different agreements and have different tariffs, so that's not affected. Japan apparently got ahead of the curve and already called Trump, and they're like, well, we trade pretty good already, and we don't tariff you guys too hard. Plus, we're making all our Tundras and all our Land Cruisers in Texas. We just import parts, so they made some kind of deal where, I don't know, some symbolic deal. They're doing this and we're doing that, and the president checked it off, and their prime minister gave it a check mark, and everyone's happy. So, ironically, Japan, South Korea already have maneuvered a certain way. And I think India was on the phone with Trump this morning, and they're like, hey, we got some ideas about how to make a deal here. So, hey, I can't see F2KMPH, 2FK. Anyway, sorry if I screwed up your name. Well, welcome, by the way. So yeah, so he's not hitting them with a massive tariff. He's simply giving a 50% of what they're doing to us to them. Now, what's that going to do? Well, we already saw the stock market freaked out, right? So that was to be expected. In the short term, it's going to hurt, and I think it will. Partly because a lot of prices will go up because the stock market is freaking out, and so it's going to increase commodities. Now, ironically, oil and gas went down, and energy went the other way, which is kind of funny, which is good for us in the sense that it that might offset a little bit of the tariff stuff. A lot of it, I think the majority of it is going to hit China. Hey, Teresa, what's going on? I think someone will challenge all tariffs not passed by Congress. Yes, so they do have a venue. Now, anyone who disagrees in Congress, they can cite those laws where the tariff needs to be implemented. I think what he's doing is he's using an executive order. The president has some wiggle room on tariffs, and I think that may be part of the reason he only went 50%, because technically it's not a reciprocal, it's an increase. I honestly think this is all a big game to get people to pick up the phone and call and start making deals. I think that's all this is. I don't think he has any intent of crashing the economy. To be honest, I don't think Biden did either. Well, I don't think Harris would have wanted to either. I don't think any politician in their right mind wants to crash the economy on purpose. That being said, if you do, Neil, hey Neil, and Neil mentioned silver, gold, platinum. The precious metals are going up. Gold hit 31 last week. Neil, you know, you watch this really closely. I think it hit 3,100 an ounce last week. I don't know where silver is this morning. So Neil, if you can, well, Neil can't put a link. If somebody could put a link to Neil's channel, and Neil, if you want to, if you want to throw the prices of gas and oil, that would be great. I'm panning for unobtainium. That's awesome. And that, by the way, unobtainium, the reference to what the hell was that movie called? Avatar. When I watched the movie and they're like, it's unobtainium, and I'm like, oh my God, that's the best name you can come up with. But it was so snarky that it was cool. But yeah, unobtainium. But anyway, on my link. No worries. If you can't, that's fine. Neil Hans Dynasty, he does have a channel. If you're in a computer or an iPad, I think if you click his name, don't block him by accident, but if you click his name, you can go to his channel. Oh, thank you, Teresa. Teresa was able to do it. Hey, Indy. Hey, KP. So I think and Dan just said, tariffs did go into effect. Right now, right. Well, and GMA Merkel, that's where I'm going. The market is reacting emotionally right now because they're expecting something bad. I think this is a big ploy to get people to pick up the phone and make deals. I think that's all this is. No politician, even if Harris had won and decided to do this, she wouldn't crash the economy on purpose. That would be a terrible idea. Plus, he's only using a 50% tariff. He's poking. He's that kid with the stick poking the other kid to get off the slide. Like, hurry up, get off the slide, poke, poke, poke. Now, what can we do in the short term? In the very short term, I don't think the prices are going to move that much, right? Because nobody knows exactly how this is going to affect everyone's pricing. What I do think is going to happen, though, in the midterm, as people kind of get a feel for what the cost increases will be, you're going to start seeing those increases. Like I said, ironically, like Toyotas are not going to get hit very bad because Toyota read the writing on the wall a long time ago, and 2 of their biggest plants in the world are here in Texas, right? So Toyota can say, oh, well, we're building, you know, the Tundras and, not the Expedition, Tundras and Sequoias for North America, they're being built in Texas, right? Because we're cool, right? And that's, they're already talking. I don't think Japan's getting hit with anything. Like they're being listed. It's a 10%. It's on like some obscure horseshit thing that very few people buy. And I think this is more political show. But prices may go up in the midterm. It's going to take about a month or 2 before every company gets a look at what's on that list and says, oh, okay, this is where a cost increase is going to go or come from. And then they have to see how it plays out. So I think, because a lot of companies, like just from my graduate school, and the way I would do it if I ran a small company is if I knew, okay, I'm importing, I don't know, clothing from China, and I'm going to get hit with an 20%, 15%, whatever the tariff is, I will have already been looking for an alternative. Communists want to flood and crash the system. Oh, I believe it. Well, once you crash the system, Grandma, it's GMA Merkel, then you have the basis for UBI and all this other stuff. Remember, Social Security and all those more socialistic programs put in by FDR happened after a recession, or after the Great Depression. But unfortunately, the Great Depression was caused by not having safeguards in the market. So, yeah, either way, it can. A massive instability could definitely hurt. But it'll take about a month for all the companies to really get an understanding of where their costs are going to come up before they can pass it to us, right? So again, if I ran a company and I was getting shirts from China, and I'm just using China as an example, and I knew a month ago, oh, on this date, we're going to get a 15% tariff, and then 2 months later, we're going to get another 15 for a total of 30, I should have already been looking for another supplier, right? So again, when you're in it, and I touch on this in my book, Defensive Preparedness, but when you look at this kind of market, this goes to Michael Porter's 5 forces of business. The power of suppliers and the power of the buyers, right? So you're the buyer. The suppliers have to go up in cost because they're getting hit. So now you have to pivot, right? So there are a few things you can do. One is find another supplier, right? Find another resource who can give you what you need at a reasonable price, right? So if I'm going to get hit with a 30% tariff from my shirts from China, but the guy in Pittsburgh can get me shirts and it's only 10% more, that's the smart play, right? 2 is to source them yourself. So I actually think you're going to see some bigger companies start to buy vertically. In other words, they're going to start buying out the companies that supply them so that now they own them and they can get around the tariff. Do you know what I'm saying? So if, company X in America is getting shirts from China or the Philippines, they may buy a portion of that company and then say, wait, but that's our company. And that might change the equation. I don't know how much. Again, I'm conjecturing here. Option 3, if you can't find another provider and you cannot source them yourself, is to find another option, find another product that you can use. So for example, if your canned tuna is going up because aluminum cans from China are going up, I'm just, again, an example. Okay, well, you can't find another, say you can't find another supplier, and you obviously can't buy your own tuna fishing fleet. So what do? You say, you know what, screw it, I'm going to buy canned chicken from the US. And that's your substitute product. Hey, Watchman. Headache to run a business. Thank you, Therese, I appreciate it. So again, you want to pivot. Now, a note to those of you who may own businesses, supposedly if you get hit with an increase, you may be able to deduct it on your taxes later. I don't know how that's going to work. They have not clarified that yet. So if you own a business, or if you're self-employed, whether you're an Uber driver or something else, you need to keep good records of all your expenses, your receipts, and any cost increases that resulted from the tariffs. You may be able to deduct them, but you have to start that now, right? Because we're already in April, right? So you don't want to get to December, January of next year, and you're like, oh, let me collect all my paperwork for my income taxes, and you're like, oh shit, now I have to go try and find receipts and records for the last 12 months. You don't want to do that. You want to start doing that today if you can. So, hey, Gerald. So, hey, Neil, I don't know if you put it in there because I'm obviously watching the road. If you can put the current price of gold and silver in the chat, that would be great. Just so, and then let me know, let everyone know if it went up or down. I think that would be very interesting. Now, besides finding a new resource or finding a new supplier or finding an alternative, your other option is going used, right? So start hitting the Goodwill, start hitting the Salvation Army, the thrift stores. Now, ultimately, the demand in those places will bring the prices up. So it you know, again, is supply demand. But if you start going now, so if you know, wow, I need a coffee grinder, go to Goodwill and see if you can find one. Or go to the wholesale places that sell surplus stuff like TJ Maxx, Home Goods, At Home, and also look for the deals in places like Walmart, Amazon. They have those deals online and in the stores where they have over-ordered or something has changed in the market and they have surplus they're trying to kick out the door. $3,100 for the oil, $3,100 for gold and $3,195 for silver. Wow. Neil, I remember when I was buying the silver coins for 14, and at the time it was like, man, it just went up from 11. Wow, that's a 20% increase. And now I'm looking at that going, Debt Reel trying to tell others what to do with their money. Yeah, Merkel, there's so many things going on at once, and it's hard for us to put a finger on. And that's why where I'm trying to go with this is give folks ideas on how you personally can maneuver to try and avoid taking too big a financial hit in this market, because it's going to be painful. Maybe not right away. So if you look at the stores right now, you're not going to see big changes in prices. It's going to take 2 to 4 weeks for companies to place new orders and see the price increases and go, shit. And keep in mind, it's not going to be the same. So for instance, my company, we're ordering, I don't know, steel, tires for vehicles, vehicles themselves, some other shit. And the tires from Japan may not be getting hit if we're getting Yokohamas or Michelin's, right? They may be the same, but the hoses came from the EU, and now that's a 30% high. So now we got to start looking for something else. You know what I'm saying? So start looking now. Get a feel for where the prices are now for the things you normally get. Write them down somewhere or take snapshots or putting in a spreadsheet, whatever. And then check them in a couple of weeks. See what's going up and down. Remember, you can also look, even if you order online, you can look and see what is the country of origin of your products, because that will give you a good hint as to how much the increase is going to be over time. So, keep those things in mind. This is not a time to panic. Now is a time to pivot. All right. So remember that. Don't panic, pivot, right? The reason you want to be in a preparedness mindset is not because you're paranoid, because the alien space worms from, I don't know, Andromeda 7 are going to come down and eat your dog. No, you do the preparedness thing so that you can eat tomorrow on last year's pricing when it wasn't inflationary. Well, it was inflationary last year. 4 years ago. I don't know. You get what I'm saying. You want to be able to maneuver. You want to prepare for options. At the end of the day, preparedness is about having options when things get hard, right? An SHTF doesn't have to be World War III. An SHTF can be, God forbid, somebody steals your car, and now you can't get to work for 2 days while you're figuring out how to get a rental, right? SHTF could be someone you love has a car accident, they get hurt. It could be I lost my job, and now I got to figure something out, but I still have bills and I got a family to feed. This is why one should prepare. Now, obviously, if you're prepared for that, hey, Pilgrim, and you're prepared for that, and, you know, something horrendous happens, like a hurricane or, you know, alien invasion or something, yeah, the preps work for that too. But I try to be pragmatic in what I buy and what I use. And I'm an engineer, right? So I like tech and I like goodies and whatnot. So I'll happily go buy some new technology just to mess with it. But that's a me thing, right? You don't have to do that. Actually, that's why I do the product reviews I do, because if I buy something and I'm like, oh, okay, I can invest $30 in this, and then it sucks ass and it fails, I'll let you know, hey, this thing broke. This is legitimately not even worth $30 or $20. Don't even buy this. This is caca. This is absolute garbage. Don't use. And if I can save you $20 by my mistake, hey, great. I'm okay with that. Do you know what I'm saying? Used cars are already inflated because the car, the availability years ago created a dent in the supply chain. So cars are already inflated, and everyone pivoted to used cars, and now those are inflated. So again, this kind of timeline, there's a little bit of a window of opportunity. But check the Goodwills, check other options. Also, you know, invest in things that make sense for your situation, right? If you live in an apartment, a gas generator makes no sense. Where are you going to put it, right? But a small jackery simply run your house lights, and you can put the solar panels on your patio or by the window. That might make more sense in a limited space environment, right? So again, don't panic, don't freak out. You pivot and maneuver in such a way to give yourself as many options as you can, so you have decisions you can make, and you're not, well, crap, I didn't prepare at all, and now this is deal with my current situation. You want to be able to maneuver it. I would also recommend for is to buy in bulk, and if you have someone to get along with, even family or friends, buy in bulk and split it, right? So you want to buy chicken, right? You want to get chicken breast. Don't buy the small packs where it costs more. Buy the 20-pound pack. Now, it may be too much chicken for you to use, right? If you're not canning or freezing with a food saver, have a family member say, hey, I'm going to buy a big-ass pack of chicken. You want to split it with me? You take half, I take half. You're now paying less per pound for both of you. You've both saved money because you were able to take advantage of the bigger product, and you're not wasting anything. So start thinking down the road. Don't just think right in front of you. Think 2 steps ahead. And right. And so my daughter was in Houston during the freeze a couple of years ago, and she said, you know, they kind of knew it was coming, and so they had prepared accordingly. Across the apartments were shaped like a letter U, and she knew the apartment across the way had 3 little boys who were in Boy Scouts. She said what they had done, the parents set up a dome tent in the living room. All the boys put their sleeping bags there. They had a little, like a solar setup, like a little jackery type, or bluetti, whatever. They put on the patio in the day when the sun, whatever sun they had, was out. And the boys had little LED lights, but all of them warmer, and it was an extra layer from the cold. So they keep the window closed and the patio closed, and they put the boys in a tent, so they were all together. And the mom and dad were around in hoodies and you know, sweatpants. So, but to your point, if people don't prepare and think ahead, then the cold weather comes, they don't have cold weather gear, they don't have a good sleeping bag, and then they run up their power bill, or they have a blackout. But anyway, folks, look, start thinking ahead. Remember, you don't want to panic, you want to pivot, you want to maneuver to position yourself for the least amount of pain, the least amount of cost, and the most amount of opportunity and options you can position yourself for. So be smart with what you're doing. Think ahead. Be calm. And if you could split costs with friends and family and people you know and trust, do that. Buy in bulk and split it among multiple people. And if they're not preppers, you can just go and say, hey, look, things are getting expensive. I'm going to buy bulk chicken. Do you want to split it with me? We'll save money. This is the cost per ounce. If you buy the small pack, this is the cost per ounce if we buy the big pack. And when you present it as a cost saving as opposed to prepping, people are much more amenable. They may go, oh, that's a great idea. Wow, I didn't think of that. And you might have someone jump on board you normally wouldn't have. Hey, Ohio. And anyone I missed in the group, I'm sorry. I'm on the road. And just to give you an idea where I am, let me see. This is where I am. I'm in the middle of freaking nowhere, y'all. Like, yeah. So, and I still have an hour and a half in my journey. So, and then I got 3 hours, 4 hours there, and then 2 hours back, and I'm going to try and beat the windstorm that's supposed to hit us tonight, because I don't want to drive through that. Y'all already saw the West Texas windstorms 2 weeks ago and how bad that was. So, think saving money, think bulk purchases, think used before new, and think options. If I can't get item A and I can't find another source that's reasonably cost effective, what else can I use? My tuna got too expensive for whatever reason. Can I use canned chicken? Can I use, I don't know, can I make my own chicken and then, I don't know, shred it and freeze it and defrost it when I need it, instead of going out and buying steak already made? Get a small steak, practice how to cook on a cast iron, learn how to make those meals you like at home, and don't forget to cook what you prep, so you know how to cook it. You don't burn it, you don't set anything on fire either. You know how to eat and prepare that which you've got stored. So folks, yes, and always be helpful and grateful. Thank you, Neil, for the reminder. Yeah, folks need to remember that. But folks, be good, be safe out there, be careful. Try not to, I'm keeping my copy of the non gotta get their own. There you go. Thanks, Dan. I appreciate it. But you guys, look, be good, be safe out there, be careful, be practical. Remember, you want to prep for options, you want to prep for cost savings. I'm probably going to have to redo my business lessons for preppers. It was done on my channel probably the first 3 months of my channel. This was a couple of years ago. And it wasn't very well done. You know, I was kind of learning how to do this YouTube and social media thing. I really need to redo it. And I go through each of the factors that affect you financially during economic downturns and how you can prep for each. And I probably need to do that again so that folks can kind of get a better understanding, because we have a lot of options. It's just when you watch the media, they're going to go for clicks, they're going to go for clickbait, they're going to panic people. Hey, Elena, you don't want to listen to that. Instead, you want to ask yourself, okay, if my t-shirt cost is going up, obviously you can't, I mean, you can run naked, but that's not a good idea. Can I find another supplier? Can I make my own clothing from materials? Or can I find a substitute? Instead of t-shirts, can I find, I don't know, pullover hoodies or something? Try to find for options. Try to buy in bulk. Compare. Take the time to do the comparative shopping for quality and for money, so that you are making the best deal for yourself, okay? And if I see anything on sale, special, I'll try and drop it in my community tabs. And again, you know, I have my various links on my channel. If you support me, that's great. But if you can save money somewhere else, do that. Absolutely do that. As a matter of fact, share it. Say, hey, look, what you have on this link, I found for 20% less in, I don't know, Walmart. Great. Do that. This is how we get through this stuff. Remember, we're preparing to deal with hardship, whatever the hardship may be. Right now, maybe a tariff hardship. We don't know. We'll see in about a month when everything starts really coming out in the wash. So, folks, you all be good, be safe out there, be careful, and you know, just take care of each other and be smart. Think ahead. Don't panic. And I will continue. Wow, it got even more desolate. Like, they're not even tank batteries or drilling rigs or solar panels. There's nothing out here. There's like stuff. There's just grass and flat. So anyway, you guys be good, be safe, and I am on my journey to the middle of nowhere, and I will see all of you on my next video. You guys take care. God bless.